Hello, welcome back. B-Ball Pro Insider. I am Candace Wiggins, and very exciting. It's the NBA Finals, so we are going to do a preview episode here, and I'm going to try to be as brief as possible because there's still a lot of basketball that needs to be played and needs to be showcased, because at the end of the day, this is the time where the players really prove themselves. This is the part where, their play on the court becomes the testimony, that becomes the narrative. So all of us, watching on the outside, we can try to shape the narrative all we want, but at the end of the day, it's the players who are really going to test and try everybody's point of view. It's really the players that are going to be the ones who prove themselves, and the truth is really going to display itself by the play and production on the court. So with all that said, there are a lot of things that I want to cover, but I also want to be as brief as possible, like I said. So let's just get to it. So the first thing that I want to say is that this 2021 NBA Finals, could not have happened to two more deserving fan bases. I have to start off by saying Dear District deserves this. They deserve it. It's so hard earned for the Milwaukee Bucks to get here. It's been so many years since their last finals appearance. I believe they were even on the Western Conference the last time they made it to the finals in 1974. The last time they won a championship was 50 years ago in 1971. And then also, obviously, the Suns, if you want to talk about, the Phoenix Suns. I think, the only term that comes to my mind is long-suffering fan base. They've haven't been to the finals since 1993, and it feels like it's been just as long as the Bucks, because they have been on the bottom for so long of the Western Conference, and to be able to witness the Suns come up and rise, Phoenix rising from the ashes, it's just so great, and it's so deserving. It really says it's a testament to loyalty, to commitment, and just playing the game with honor and building a franchise from the bottom up, and I just think that they're both two very distinguished franchises. So it's going to be a finals that, each team being there is deserving, and each team is deserving of winning. And I can't say that enough, how rare and special it is to see these two franchises going against each other in the final. The Suns, they're a franchise that, like I said, long suffering, but they're just so easy to root for as well, especially Chris Paul. It's just a story of endurance, and it's just a beautiful story that can really be illustrated, I think, in these finals. And I just think that this is the time to really watch for that, and to really respect the plight that it took for both of these teams to get here. So end of the day, two great deserving teams, two deserving fan bases. All right, so now I'm gonna make some predictions, and again, this could change. It could be, confirmed, or it could be rejected by the time that I do a follow-up, which will be a review episode. So right now, I'm going with instincts, I'm going with my gut, and I'm going to try to illustrate as much as I can why I'm coming up with these predictions. So now I want to be balanced as well. So I'm going to start with my predictions with the Suns, and really, try as much as I can explain what justifies me feeling the way I feel, and making the predictions that I make. And then I'm going to switch over to the Milwaukee Bucks, and really talk about my predictions and how, it could go for them as well. And again, this is just my insight following the season from around late January all the way up until now. The predictions that I had going into it, I really did see these two teams as the top teams. So far it's been very accurate, how I've seen these teams is how it's played out. Obviously they had different roads to get here, and now we're here. There's two teams left. This is it. So the predictions that I make are really based on the supporting evidence that has led both teams to the success that they've reached, and the success that they've had over the course of the season, and certainly over the course of the playoffs. So we'll start with the Suns. My prediction for the Suns, if I'm being honest, I'm being serious, and I'm being straightforward, would be Suns in 5. But I definitely want to clarify that more. All of a sudden, when you hear 5 games, it means a gentleman's sweep, and that sounds very dismissive of the Bucks. But I don't think it's going to be a gentleman's sweep that is just a blowout where they're blowing the Bucks out every game and it's not even close. That's not what I mean. I think that all the games are going to be battle tested. They're going to be hard fought, and they're probably most likely going to go down to the wire. And, you know, I think about their last series, the Suns' last series when they played against the Clippers, for example. You know, a lot of times just because the Suns won in 6, it's easy to forget how they got there. But a lot of people probably forget, like, for example, in game 2, which was the Valley-oop, and it was completely, you know, the game was completely overshadowed by that spectacular last-second play. But a lot of people wouldn't realize that that game, up until the last second, there was 1 second on the clock, and Phoenix was down 1. You know, they were able to win that game, you know, but at the end of the day, it was still down to the last second. And there were other games like that as well with the Phoenix Suns and the Los Angeles Clippers where, you know, it really was kind of a coin flip, you know, in terms of it could have gone either way and the series could have swung, you know, seriously in that last series. But, you know, the momentum could have swung definitely in the favor of the Clippers on just one play or free throws made. So I see it being similar to that, but I just feel like the Phoenix Suns are so good at closing games. They are so good at the end of game situations and, you know, their free throws and taking care of the ball. And I just think that, you know, those end of game situations are really going to work in the favor of the Phoenix Suns. I have to do a disclaimer right now and say that just because I'm saying Suns in 5 does not mean that the Suns are going to blow the Bucks out every game. In fact, I think it's going to be really close, but I see it being more like a hard-fought gentleman's sweep, meaning that, you know, every game the Bucks are in it, every game the Suns are tested and challenged, but they find a way, like they did in the Clippers series, to finish the game and to follow through. So that is really basically why I believe Suns in 5, but I also want to make sure it's clear that just because I'm saying Suns in 5 is my prediction, you know, that, you know, and the Bucks are very capable, and I'll get to the Bucks in a minute about how the Bucks can change that and really, you know, dismiss that theory. But I also just believe in the Suns. I believe that, you know, the Suns are just so focused, you know, and I also would just say, you know, again, like I said in the last series with the Bucks versus the Hawks, you know, I would be a little shocked and awed if this series did go to 6. But again, let me clarify what I mean by that. That there's a difference. When I said I would be shocked and awed if the Bucks-Hawks series went to 6, and it did go to 6, and I was shocked and awed. I was shocked that they lost their game 1. I really was. I did not expect the Bucks to lose game 1, and I don't expect the Suns to lose game 1 too, but if they did, I would be shocked. So yeah, I would be shocked and awed if the series went to 6, but the difference between the Suns and the Bucks would be that in this case, if the series did go to 6 games in the Suns' favor and the Suns won in 6, I don't think that would necessarily mean that the Suns did not take care of business. In the last series, meaning the Bucks versus the Hawks, it felt like it was the Bucks who didn't take care of business, especially, you know, at home. And I just feel like in the case of the Suns, if it did go to 6, I would be shocked and awed, but that wouldn't necessarily mean that the Suns didn't take care of business. It would probably most likely mean that the Bucks stole it from them. They took it. So, you know, there's a difference a little bit in the dynamic between these two teams versus, you know, the dynamic of the series in the past. But you have to erase all that anyway, because this is a whole new game. It's a whole new series. It's a totally different matchup now. Okay, and I'm going to save a lot more for my review episode, because that's going to really be what matters to me, is the performance, and the performance is going to tell me, you know, what to believe. But, you know, this is really, like I said, these are just instinctual, you know, my first thoughts about what will happen. And to finish up with the Suns, because there's obviously many factors at play, but the number one key is their formula. And this is how I see it. It's all about, you know, finals play in the NBA and in the WNBA. And I experienced, you know, of 2 WNBA finals. So I played there, and I understand how important, you know, guard play is at this time of the year. And so I think it's really going to focus on the guards. I think the guards are always going to be the ones who they go as the team goes as the guards go. So I think that that's going to be the case. It's been like that throughout history, and I don't think it's going to stop now. So when speaking on that, you have to think about the 2 guard leaders for the Suns, and that is Chris Paul and Devin Booker. And the reason why I just believe in the Suns in 5 is because of Chris and Devin, and I just feel like, they have this formula. It's just the way that they work together, their synergy, and I just think that they have the greatest combination, and them as a duo, it's like they have this combination of the will to win, and then they have this timeless talent. Both of them possess that, and I think coming together, it just establishes, this finals fortitude that is really going to push them over the edge. It's going to be really hard to battle against and go against those two things that are working together. So, I just think that, the Bucks have to stop that. They have to stop, a will to win and timeless talent, and at that level, and the height that they're at, it's just really, really hard to stop. And it's fueled by, both of their thirst and their quest to get to where they are. So we will see that, and we'll see how it plays out. But I just think that that's the winning formula for Phoenix. And you've seen it all throughout the playoffs. And I think that you're really going to see the exclamation point of it in the finals. So I think that is really working in the Suns' favor. The first thing I want to say about the Milwaukee Bucks is that, it was something that I said, and I'm so glad that Milwaukee Bucks did not make me eat my words on this, but I said you can put your Bucks on the Bucks. And I meant that. And I said that as early as their Nets series. And people were trying to basically troll me off the internet when I said that, but it turned out being right. So, I still believe that, and I still stand behind that, putting your Bucks on the Bucks. It's a safe bet to make. It's a smart bet to make. But in this case, in this series against the Suns, I would not put my Bucks on the Bucks. And I just feel like no matter what I say, you can make that call. But I just feel like in this case, this is the one time where I would say that the other team has an edge over the Bucks. So, but I will say that, the Milwaukee, one thing that Milwaukee will always be in this 2021 playoffs is a safe bet, because they have the talent. They have, they're coached so well, and they have the experience, maybe not in the NBA finals, but they have the experience of playing together in high pressure situations. And that's really kind of what it takes. So I really want to make sure, that when I'm talking about these things, I realize how great of a team that Milwaukee is. And I want to really make the case for, the Bucks in 6 and the Bucks in 7, because there is a case to be made for the Bucks. And I think, but I do think that they're underdogs, and I think that they're underdogs for a reason. And the biggest reason that I think that they are the underdogs is obviously home court advantage. And that plays a huge role in this. In order for them to get back their home court advantage, they're gonna have to steal one on the road. And that's where I think the challenge for Milwaukee comes in, is going to Phoenix in the conditions that Phoenix, the way that it is now, and being able to steal one on the road. I do believe that they are capable of doing that. But here's where I think it has to be game 1. I think game 1 is the key to the Milwaukee Bucks' success for the rest of the series. That is how they can go the distance with Phoenix, because they will be going the distance. They will be challenged every step of the way. But I think that, game 1 and game 3 are the keys for Milwaukee. And the reason why I believe that is because Milwaukee is a team that really, really thrives on momentum. Momentum is something that, has been carrying them. And I think that, game 1 could be a way to control the momentum, to shift the momentum in their favor by, like I said, stealing game 1 on the road. And you can tell that that is their strategy, because even Drew Holiday said it. It was the first thing he said when they beat the Hawks in game 6. He was saying, he was ready for game 1 to steal one on the road right then and there. So it is no secret. And that is the way that, the Milwaukee team is going to approach taking the momentum from the finals right from the get-go. They know what it's like, because they had it done to them in the last series when Atlanta totally took the momentum and shifted it in their favor in their game 1. I think that's the case to be made for the Bucks in 6 and 7 starts with game 1. Game 3 could be a time where the momentum also shifts in the Milwaukee Bucks' favor, because they will be, no matter what happens, after the first 2 games, no matter the outcome, like I said, if they're down 2-0, if they're 1-1, or whatever happens in the first 2 games in Phoenix, when they come to Milwaukee, they are such a great team at home. They're almost unbeatable at home. The Milwaukee Bucks will accept, the Hawks proved that wrong. But other than, that Hawks game 1, the Bucks have been just so on point at home. I think that game 3 is a series shifting opportunity for the Bucks to get back into the game. You saw what happened with the Nets. They were down bad after the first 2 games of the Nets series. And I had personally said, put your Bucks on the Bucks. And it didn't look like you should put your Bucks on the Bucks after game 2 in Brooklyn. But you saw what happened in game 3, and everything shifted. Everything changed from there, including the Nets play. And obviously, there was injuries that could account for that. But it was also just the momentum shifting in the favor of the Bucks because they took the momentum. They took the opportunity to play at home and to reestablish the series. And I think they could do that too in this finals, especially in this finals. And I think it will happen. Even if they lose at home, I still feel like the momentum could shift in their favor and help them in the future. So game 3 is going to be huge. Obviously, game 1 is their prime opportunity to start right away and to, take the series right from the beginning. But even if they don't take the series right from the beginning, there still is an opportunity to get back into it in their game 3 at home. We're going to have to really watch this series and not really say, I don't really want to dictate too much because it's really the players who are going to tell me from the get-go, from the first tip-off, what is really happening. What I'm saying, these are just observations that I've made, but they're so not, it's not me trying to assume anything because anything can happen. As much as I don't want to talk about it, obviously health is a big, important issue. Health has been, the key thing in this entire NBA playoffs, and I think it will be an issue from this year and beyond. And I think that, that obviously works into the favor of Phoenix. So that's also something, to be considering and thinking about, but just what an inspiring story, both of these teams getting here, in the circumstances, because neither road was really easy. It might have looked easy, Milwaukee sometimes makes things look easy where you kind of expect them to perform because, they make it look so easy. Same with Phoenix. Phoenix really made the Western Conference look easy. So you really have to just give respect and honor to both of these teams for making it to this point. Health or not, whatever issues, they are a team, and both teams have shown that they are teams no matter who they're missing. So I think that, while health will be an issue, I just feel like these two teams do not make any excuses, and you're going to see a finals with no excuses. You're going to see them both just taking opportunity and really just taking the circumstances for what they are and achieving success. So I'm going to finish by saying, the work has really just begun, but honestly, for both of these franchises, the hardest work has really already been done. And that hard work was, persevering through the entire regular season, through the playoffs to get to this point. And I especially would say, and this is why I favor the Suns in 5 to me is what I see, because, the Suns did so much hard work in their homework. And so the hardest work is already done. And that was the homework it took for them to get here. So, with that in mind, that's why regular season homework is so important. Even though they didn't finish with the top record in the NBA, here they are in the finals for a chance to play for an NBA championship title, all because they did their homework. And now they have home court advantage. And because of that home court advantage, I believe that it will be the Suns' title to take. But that's why we play the game. And so that's pretty much all I have right now. And again, I'm going to be doing the next episode is going to definitely be a finals review. It'll be the final review, and we'll be able to take it from there. After the first couple of games, there's an extended break. And I think that's going to be the time to really reflect on what happened and really make a concrete prediction then of what's going to happen next. And then also the final episode, I want to do a Talking Trends Part 4, and that is going to be all dedicated to the trolls and the rewards and the redemption of trolling. So you definitely don't want to miss that, but that's going to be, towards the end, because we got to let the trolls come on out and play first. Anything can happen in these finals. And I'm just, like I said, I want to finish by just saying how happy I am that it's these two franchises. Couldn't happen to two more deserving fan bases. That concludes this episode, and I hope to see you on the next one.